Hello YouTube, StuckInAPool here, and today we're going to be talking about some Fire Emblem Heroes units. I'm hoping to get more into the Fire Emblem Heroes thing here on YouTube, so I figured I'd kind of start with a series I've been wanting to do for a little while now, and it's going to show how long I've had this idea, because some of the ideas that I have are going to be a little outdated, but we're going to do the best we can here. So the series I want to make is about redeeming the underrated heroes in the game, the ones that kind of sit at the bottom of the tier list. I want to take the ones that are on the lower half, and if it's like a character you like, or just a character that you really want to use, or it's like you got a pity breaker, or you just want to get a 4-star plus 10 to use for arena, I just want to help you to like redeem that hero, give them a really strong build, give them a niche they can fill, just make it usable. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to talk about the hero just kind of in general. I'm going to show like an ideal build using the unit builder that has been posted on the Reddit, and I can't remember who posted it, but thank you for doing that. I'll get a link and I'll put it in the description. So we'll do an ideal build, and then I'm going to show like my build that I've kind of got going with the character, and some of them are finished, some of them are not. Like I don't have unlimited resources, so I'll just kind of talk about how I use them and how the very best way to use them in the scenario I'm discussing is. So the first hero I want to talk about is the angry ninja from Fates himself, Mr. Saizo. On the tier list, he sits at, with the way the new ranks go, he sits right at rank 5, which is second to last. So he's really not considered very good, which, you know, understandable. Ninjas in general just aren't considered very good in this game. You know, their attack is not very good in general. Their weapons are pretty bad. They tend to get overlooked, with the exception of, you know, like, you know, the dancer, you know, Olivia, and the one hero that I'm going to be kind of talking about is the Kitty Sakura, the Halloween Sakura. She has actually allowed him to kind of take one of his, you know, niches like I talked about and kind of expand it. So he actually has pretty high attack, pretty high speed, and for a ninja, really high defense. Him and Matthew both could kind of do this the same, but Matthew, where he has a little more health, Saizo has a little more defense, a little more attack. So he does his job a little better. So the premise behind this build, the ideal here, is that you can run Kitty Paddle to basically, on initiation, one-hit KO a lot of mages that aren't running Raven builds. And then he can bait and occasionally kill even like the most optional archers. The only people he has trouble with would be like plus attack, Death Blow 3 Brave Bow on like Halloween Jacob, or on Brave Lynn with horse buffs. You know, they'll probably take him out. But for the average archer, he can bait and with Bowbreaker take him down. So basically, he's set up as an anti-meta unit because mages are so strong right now, like especially Reinhardt. If you can get to him before he gets to you, you can kill him in one hit and not have to worry about it. And Bowbreaker, of course, you have Bolin to worry about all the time, so he should be able to handle her. And the last skill that I have on him is, the last relevant one I should say, is Attack Smoke. If you're not willing to sack a Bolin for Attack Smoke, then Threatened Attack works pretty well too. Attack Smoke just, you know, hits the stat a little harder and hits around the enemy area, whereas you're not really going to be surrounded that often. And so anyone who he isn't trying to kill immediately will be a little weaker, so hopefully he'll survive the enemy phase after that. And obviously the attack plus 3 just kind of helps him to guarantee more one-hit kills against maybe the higher defense mages, the Merrics and the Bowies. He doesn't really have to worry about them anyway, because his speed will keep him from getting doubled. And they usually, even though his res is terrible, he shouldn't get one-hit killed himself. And then just Bonfire because he has good defense and rally speed resistance, because, you know, why not? I find that the rally skills work well for units that, if a unit has low stats and they want to help someone else survive better, then rallying that low stat on someone else tends to be the best option. My Saizo has pretty much the same build. The only difference being he's 4-star plus 10, so his stats are a little higher in some spaces. Actually, in all spaces, I suppose. And unfortunately, he's minus HP instead of minus resistance. Having the lower health kind of hurts his survivability against bows. Helps against mages a little bit, but again, he doesn't want to get hit by mages like ever if he can help it. So I never, unfortunately, got plus attack minus res specifically, so I went with like the next best thing. And of course, I have reposition on mine. I didn't feel like investing in rally speed resistance yet. I'll probably do it at some point. So yeah, that's Saizo. The next unit I want to talk about is a unit that has been power crept forward and back. When he was first released, he had a very specific gimmick, and that was to basically want to get down to low health and then hit you really hard with a special, and using his Wu Dao do extra damage with a special. So I'm talking, of course, about Karel. First, you had Karel. Then you had Athena, who came along, and she basically does the same gimmick with Moonbow, and she has Wu Dao as well. Of course, there's skill inheritance, so, you know. But she has the stats to do the gimmick a little better. And then they released Aira and Mia, and gave you basically no reason to use any other red infantry sword units. Like, there's so many in the game, it's hard to pick Karel. But he can be useful. Especially for like if you're in arena assault and you need a good bulky red, he can do the job for you. The interesting thing about Karel is he has really high health, as you can see, and he has pretty high speed as well. So even though his defenses are not too high, he's pretty bulky. So you'll see the first thing on him is Wu Dao plus. It's his weapon, and with weapon refinement coming along, it just makes him even better. Especially if you can give him a little extra speed, it'll help him get doubled more, or help him to avoid getting doubled in more situations. So, pretty much in both instances, or in any instance with him, you want a low cooldown special. So Moonbow works, but for the sake of what I'm talking about with this build, with his high health, he's one of the few people that can actually use Reprisal to a good effect. So we're going to keep that on him and give him reciprocal aid. So Karel wants to be at low health, like at all times. Like, for one thing, it's going to increase his reprisal damage. And on this build, we have basically any B option you'd want to run, or like the low health ones. I specifically have Wrath on here because it's going to make him hit even harder with the reprisal. It may be a bit overkill. Vantage is another really good option. Especially if you're going to give him distant counter if you really, really like Karel. But Fury's a great option too. The stat boost is great. The fact that it damages them a little is great. The threat and defense is just going to help him to kind of make his opponents a little softer, because either you're going to bait with him so he can get hit hard and take a little damage and then hopefully kill on the retaliation, or you're going to attack first and hopefully it'll just be like kind of a stalemate situation and he won't like die on the second on the enemy phase, and he'll lower their defense so he hits them harder and hopefully kills them. So yeah, you could do Desperation as well if you just want to make sure that you're getting your special procced on the next attack, or on the next phase, I suppose, if you are planning to bait with him. And then giving the HP plus 5 steal just makes his HP like ludicrous. Like, it is the same as Ardent's at this point, and it's kind of excessive. So yeah, like I said, he was super power crept. But I would say the best IVs for him are to take that extra health and just do something special with it. So that's Karel. He was personally one of my favorite units from Fire Emblem 7, and I'm kind of biased towards that game, so I may have given him a little too much credit here, but it is what it is. So my Karel, unfortunately, I haven't gotten a chance to use him a whole lot. I was gonna set him up with just Fury and Desperation. I definitely don't have an extra Wrath to use for him. I've only gotten one Nephany, and I don't want to use her for that. And you know, the Wodow I haven't refined yet. I mean, like I said, it's hard to justify using Karel, but if you really want to take the time to do it, then it's worth doing it. You know, it's been said that like any character in this game can be good with enough motivation and resources. You know, I have other characters that I'm currently invested in, but like I said, for someone who's super biased towards them, this is actually a pretty good build. So the next unit I want to talk about is the Legendary Knight from Shadows of Valencia, however you choose to pronounce it, and that's Mathilda. Mathilda is a character that sits pretty low on the tier list as well. She's in tier 5 of 6, so she's not very well liked. It's for a lot of reasons. Her stats are kind of middling, but the stat that really stands out, of course, is her resistance. I kind of have a tendency to like physical units with high resistance, because usually most mages or magic damage dealers that aren't dragons have low defense, so they do really well in duels against them. So personally, I pulled this high-res Mathilda, and I saw that she could hit 38 resistance, and I was like, well, I got an extra Berkut laying around, so on enemy phase, if she could, bait and hit 42 resistance, that's pretty insane. And then when the refinery came out, and it's like, oh, you can make that 7 resistance and refine it for extra resistance, so she can hit 48 resistance on enemy phase, which is just obscene. So she can tank mages pretty well. The only thing that hurts her is her health is pretty low. Even with the refinement, she only hits 40. But fortunately, she does have horse buffs, so if you have someone who would want to run like fortified cavalry, which isn't very common, I understand, but she would do really well with the defense and resistance boosts. Her defense is pretty low, so you might as well just sack it and just hope that she doesn't get in any fights with any physical fighters. So yeah, the build that I've got going on, like I said, I talked about Berkut's Lance, and I talked about the rally skills earlier with Saizo. Her defense is really low, so giving her rally speed defense will give her a lot of arena points and help her to boost the people that need to be taking the physical damage, because she obviously doesn't want it. Iceberg, I mean, she's hitting 48 resistance on enemy phase, like I said, so that's a whopping 24 extra damage she's going to do. Her attack is pretty low, so she kind of needs that. Now, I gave her distant counter. Man, I first pulled her, and I gave it to her very quickly, and I was like, yeah, she's a perfect res tank. She's better. I kind of regretted it, because I don't use her a lot, but in specific situations, she's really good, and like on Arena Assault, she comes in handy very often. Yeah. No, it's definitely, it's hard to justify spending a Hector, but on her, it's understandable, because like I said, she has such high resistance. I gave her quick riposte, even if she is neutral on speed. Her speed's kind of middle of the road, or middle ground. So she's not going to be doubling very often. She will probably get doubled every now and then with the really fast mages. But she should probably survive with her stupid resistance. But she's not going to double back, which means she's not going to proc Iceberg. Which means she probably won't kill the person, unless she does have quick riposte. So that works really well for her. And the other two skills I have for her, with her silly resistance, she's great for ploy skills. So if you've got some extra defense ploys that you want to use, she's great for it. And the attack ploy seal works great on her as well. And I ran a couple combat simulations with her, and I put Deflect Magic on her, and she actually was able to tank Lancebreaker Reinhardt with full build. So yeah, she's pretty great at handling a lot of the meta magic units. So my personal build with her, unfortunately I don't have a defense ploy to give out, so I've just got Hone Attack on her still, and I only have a couple quick riposte 3s, and I haven't given it to her yet. If I keep using her, I probably will give it to her at some point. And the other thing, right now I just have resistance on her for her S slot. I've got attack point on someone else at the moment, but I'll probably put it back on her when I go to use her. And I haven't refined her lance yet, but that's definitely on the list. And reposition is just good on cavalry, so I've got it on her right now. Unfortunately, she is -B, so she's going to get doubled more. But then again, like I said, that's going to help her to proc Iceberg, so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but just I just have to like cross my fingers that she won't die on the second hit. So yeah, that's Mathilda. So the last unit I want to talk about is actually my favorite hero in the whole game, and it's going to show when I show my build for her that I have. She's my summon support because I use her all the time, and that is none other than the Princess of Gra, and that is Sheena. And man, she is a defensive powerhouse. Like, no joke, she is so strong. She has, for an armor, she has insane resistance, and if you get a plus resistance Sheena, then she's gonna be able to swat down mages like it's her job. Like, I frequently use her to take down Celicas. It's kind of insane. So, the build for her that I would say to use, first off, she wants the Slang Axe upgrade. Thank you, Weapon Refinery. You know, give her a little extra resistance, a little extra health. Nothing wrong with that. Her best IVs are probably to go plus resistance and minus HP, so that kind of makes up for the lost health. I use Pivot just because armor units need that extra mobility, and she wants to bait anyway, so it's good for her to be able to get in the right positions more easily. Swap works kind of well. I just personally prefer Pivot here. I have Aether on her. On mine, I still have Iceberg. I'd like to get Aether on her at some point. Typically, Iceberg would be the best, but with the release of the Christmas banner today, Vengeful Fighter came out. So if you get an extra Christmas Tharja and you want to give someone Vengeful Fighter, Sheena is great for it, because she really appreciates the better version of Quick Riposte and the cooldown reduction. And of course I gave her this encounter because she can swap mages, like I said. And a good skill for her with her high res actually is attack ploy. Threat and attack is good too, definitely. It helps her survive better either way. Especially if you're in an Aether, she'll just heal back up, and people can smack her forever, and she'll just keep proccing Aether and hitting him hard. It works really well. Obviously, if she's on an armor team, Ward Armor is a great choice. Yeah, and distant defense just makes her defenses go even higher, especially in fighting archers and mages, which is pretty common. So, my Sheena is actually my summoner support, so she gets the extra health and extra stats all around. She's one of the few units who wants stats everywhere. I've got, the Slang Axe are fine and everything. I've got Pivot. Like I said, I'm still running Iceberg. So yeah, it's basically the same as what I showed you, but right now I've got Ward Armor on her, and she, like I said, she has a summoner support, so her stats are all a little higher. And I've got her at +8 right now, and I use her on Arena. I use her for just about everything. Because her survivability is just through the roof. If you put Wary Fighter on her, she'll survive a lot better, but she just can't, instant kill people like she can. And her defenses are high enough, she doesn't really mind taking 2 hits. So, yeah, Sheena is my favorite unit. I'll say that. So that's the 4 units I'm going to do today. I think that's going to be the format I do from here on out. I'm going to do one of each color, and I'm just going to keep making videos like this where I'm going to try and salvage those pity breakers, or the, oh my god, it's my favorite unit from this game, but they got the trash treatment, like Seth, or the ones that just have horrible stats for some reason, or weird skills. So we'll make this a typical thing, and I'll come up with a couple other quirky builds like the ones I've had on here. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy, and if you have any ideas for builds you want to see or characters you want to see redeemed, leave a comment. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.